Alright guys, we're going to adjust the valve clearance for all these valves, but actually I'm only going to go over one chamber with you guys, but I'll explain the whole concept. Alright, the general concept is that because there are 4 strokes to each combustion cycle, you could expect that each one of these chambers will be at a different stroke while your engine is preparing for combustion. Now, if that's the case here, we got to realize that when you're at top dead center on cylinder number 1, you're going to be able to adjust the first set of valves. That would be the intake side, this would be the exhaust side. Cylinder 1's always going to be the closest to the camshaft, and if it happened to be offset, it'd be the one that's more close to the camshaft. Now the situation here is that this is cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, cylinder 4. I'm going to look at my timing marks. In this case, I have timing marks over here that say up. I already did have them straight up before, but now you can tell right here and right here it says up, and it's supposed to be up for cylinder 1. Right now I already did cylinder 1, so I'm going to cylinder 2. You notice I turned it over, I rotated the engine, I checked the manual, and the position for cylinder number 2 to be worked on is with the up facing the 3 o'clock position. So I made sure that my crankshaft was aligned when I did the cylinder 1. Usually your crankshaft's gonna have a timing mark as well. In this situation, you could tell right over there, that's the timing mark there, and the timing mark on the pulley is completely opposite. That means it's 180. I turned the crank pulley 180 degrees, and now I could actually do cylinder number 2. Then cylinder number 3 is actually going to be towards the, I believe it's the 9 o'clock position. Let's see here. Number 3 piston at top dead center shows that the up marks should be to the 9 o'clock position, which leaves the 4th chamber to be the right here. The up marks should be absolutely facing down. Okay? So to get there, all we have to do is turn the crank by hand. Make sure you have no spark plugs in there so it turns easily. And then you're going to be ready to check your valve clearances. Of course, I assume you guys took off your valve cover by now, and everything's ready to go. You're going to need a feeler gauge. Feeler gauge comes in many sizes. Don't be like me. Don't buy the one that did not have the sizes you needed, and just assume that there was enough on there to help you out. I bought a Craftsman one. It has plenty of sizes, especially these smaller sizes. They're harder to come across. Now, the intake and exhaust clearances are going to be slightly different. For intake, we got 0.006 to 0.007. And then on the exhaust side, we got 0.007 to 0.008. So we just have to make sure that our clearances fall between those 2 marks there. So let's start. Now we're set up for cylinder number 2. And my intake ports, like I said, could be anywhere from 0.006 to 0.007. So I'm going to check it out. This is my intake side. You could tell because the intake manifold. I'm going to come down here. And I'm going to try to shove this right under the cam where the follower is. I could also do it from the other side, but I happen to have room from here, so I don't have to. And I don't know if you could tell, but my gauge does go in, and it does get a little caught. It should kind of like fit in easily, but if you pull it out at an angle, it should kind of get a little caught. So the way they go in, you tap them, and it's not bent yet, but as you push in, it bends, and then it comes to the exact angle it needs to fit inside. You do a little jimmy, shimmy. It goes in. I could tell that it barely fits. I pull it out. There's no need to test the higher size, but I'll do it just in case. As you can tell, this is a 0.006. And that fit. It fit on both sides there. Next, we're going to try the 0.007. Make sure that that one does not fit since these two are so snug. But even if it did fit, that'd still be in tolerance. 0.007 is acceptable. So we come in here, it is not fitting. I come in here, also not fitting. Not fitting. Alright. Next, let's test the other side. So the other side here, so our intake side fell within clearance. Now we're going to go to our exhaust side here, and we're going to check it out. The exhaust side, obviously next to the exhaust manifold, there are the exhaust springs, and we got 0.007 to 0.008 inches. Just so you guys know, I didn't make this stuff up. Here it is in the manual. Adjust valves on cylinder 1. Okay. And by the way, all the valves have the same adjustment. So now I got 0.007 out already. I'm going to try it out on my intake side here. I'm sorry, I almost did cylinder 1 again. Seems to fit inside and catch. Again, on the other side here, this one's a little loose. So I'm gonna test out the 0.008, make sure there's no adjustment required. All right. Let's try this again. So that's 0.008, and it doesn't fit on this side, and on this side it does fit as tightly as it should. Okay, so we're within clearance there too. So unfortunately I didn't have to show you how to use my tappet adjustment tool, or I didn't have to use it, so I'm gonna have to fake using it here for you. The idea is that little bolt that fits on top, that locks in the flathead screw on the bottom. The adjustment is done once you loosen that top nut. So the idea is to hold that. Once you loosen the whole thing, you shove the feeler gauge underneath the same way you were measuring. I'd shove the smaller tolerance in if possible, you know. And then you tighten down to it with the screwdriver. Don't tighten, you know, just tighten down to it. And then hold the screwdriver steady while you turn the nut. And that's why you're going to need this special tool, because unfortunately, if you had a 10mm wrench, you don't really have the angle to get in there. The sidewalls, I don't know if you can tell, but this is kind of deep. This is kind of like 2 inches or so. About that deep. So it's kind of a tight place to get to. I went out to AutoZone, Advanced Auto. Nobody sold anything. I had to buy this online. You got to know what size your nut is, though. I knew mine was 10mm, so that's what I went with.